In the mid-90s, Richmond wasn't on anyone's mental map until a rumor started ricocheting through its smoke-choked bars. Chris Adler, a stick-thin drum phenom who could blur blast beats into swing, and younger brother Willie, a riff slinger who treated drop D like gospel, were hammering away in a backyard shed that rattled the whole suburb. With college pals Mark Morton, John Campbell, and Matt Connor, they christened the project Burn the Priest and unleashed a 1995 demo so raw it felt dangerous to touch.
I don't think we really had it in our minds that we would do something that collectively. Chris had his own kind of band going on at the time, and we would jam together and then write some stuff, but it wasn't necessarily something that we.
Yeah, we never tried to do this. It really wasn't the idea of. We didn't sit down and have this big, discussion or something and say, hey, let's make a metal band and let's see if we can get a record deal and go on tour. We just kind of randomly, all of the five of us, got together and just started making hard rock, and then decided, well, I guess we can go drive a couple hours and play this house party and get some free beer and hit on some girls. And we just kept doing that, and the attention really, instead of us going out and looking for success or record labels and stuff like that, it started to come to us because we were doing all the work ourselves. So, but from the beginning, we never decided that, we're going to be brothers in a metal band. It was,
Crowds doubled every gig. VFW halls shook. Local promoters whispered next big thing, even as lineup hiccups threatened momentum. To the fans, it looked like an unstoppable rise. Inside the band, hairline cracks were already spiderwebbing between the brothers. Those cracks were about to explode, turning the tightest rhythm section in modern metal into ground zero for one of rock's most brutal family rifts. By 2000, the name Burn the Priest was scaring record stores and promoters alike. Same lineup, new banner, Lamb of God, still provocative. That fall, they released New American Gospel. Morton's crooked riffs, Willie's relentless downpicking, and Chris's piston foot double kick instantly crowned them the new groove metal torchbearers.
The Priest changed its name to Lamb of God because of the altered lineup and to avoid being mistaken as a satanic metal band.
In a rough way, yes, that's pretty much exactly true. Yeah.
Okay.
Some people would be like, oh, it must be a satanic band because you're Burn the Priest.
Or a Christian band.
But...
Well, not Burn the Priest.
Yeah, no.
Lamb of God.
But really, it was more like, yes, we didn't want to be labeled as people thought we were a black metal band. Some people did,
It's kind of
kind of a black metal name. But really, it's just like, there's no mystery to Burn the Priest.
It's pretty direct.
It's like, you are a metal band. What's the name of your band? Burn the Priest. But when you say, what's the name of your band? Lamb of God, people are like, oh, what is that? Is that Christian? What is, they don't know. It's an enigma, and it's far more interesting.
Fast forward to 2017. Chris Adler bought a superbike. A high-speed crash shattered his collarbone and shoulder, sounding the kind of mortality alarm no one wants to hear. Rehab was brutal, and an uglier complication emerged: musician's dystonia, a neurological glitch that hijacks muscle memory. For a drummer famed for surgical precision, it was a career earthquake.
At the same time, in like 2016, 17, right in the end of 16, I was diagnosed with something called musician's dystonia, which basically is we can get into it, but I didn't want to talk about it at the time because I felt like it would really hinder my career, but I've gone through an incredible amount of work to be able to come back from it. And for a drummer, really for anybody that plays an instrument, it's kind of a death sentence. So mine was with my right foot. Dystonia is basically a neurological condition where the nerve that controls the movement of any particular body part basically deteriorates to the point where that motion becomes impossible. So people that repeat the same repetitive motion for decades at a time, this happens to them. It happens a lot to like golfers, quarterbacks, first chair violinists, people that just practice the hell out of what they're doing. And this happened to me with my right foot. So I would be playing a song and my foot, when I intended it to depress the pedal, would shoot off to the side or shoot back. And so I went through, and that was at the point where I was coming off stage just so depressed with my performance.
Yet Chris powered through 2018 shows using adaptive pedals and a left foot lead trick he'd practiced since childhood. On stage, he still looked like a human metronome. Off stage, he was icing joints and cursing nerves that misfired by milliseconds. On July 19th, 2019, Chris opened an email stating in polite corporate brevity, "Your services are no longer required. No band meeting, no brotherly sit-down, just a digital pink slip that ended 25 years of blood, sweat, and cymbal cracks." He refreshed the screen 3 times, thinking it was a prank. It wasn't.
One of those emails, service is no longer required kind of thing. And that was devastating because it really was. I felt like it was my baby, it was my project, and I put my life into it. It was my identity. So I had to take some time. And of course, these other things that were going on, and really just trying to find a purpose, trying to decide what chapter 2 was going to be about.
Imagine discovering your sibling's project, the one you co-founded, had fired you without so much as a phone call. That's not a breakup, it's a fracture. Since that day, the brothers haven't exchanged a word, no birthday texts. Chris calls the bond estranged.
Since that letter, I believe it was in 2018, or the email, there's been absolutely no communication whatsoever from either side.
Replacing Chris Adler should have been like subbing Tom Brady with a rookie. Yet Art Cruz, a Downey, California native raised on marching band drills, slid in almost seamlessly.
It derived from a relationship that I made with my first band, Winds of Plague. We toured with Lamb of God in the 2010 Mayhem Fest, and that was the tour that I first met them and became friends, and we were instantly best friends ever since. I didn't realize, fast forward 8 years later, that I would be given the opportunity to help them, and that's what it was. That's what friends do. That was the initial plan, was friends, helping friends, and that's what I did. When I got that phone call to help them was one thing, but the in-person conversation to actually join the band was a life-changing experience that I will not forget.
He also possessed deep pocket, natural swing, and the first in, last out work ethic bands crave on the road. Chris didn't disappear. He retrained himself to play left foot lead full time while coaxing the right foot back to life. He launched Firstborn with ex-Megadeth bassist James Lomenzo.
Also just came back from Bahrain and Dubai with Chris Adler, and actually are making some music with him right now, and a couple of other really talented fellows, and we're actually putting together music as we speak. And it's more metal oriented, which I haven't kind of dipped my fingers in that for a couple of years, so that's exciting.
Now, being the king of the rhythm section, bass-wise, what's it like playing with a drummer like Chris Adler? I mean, because he's considered one of the top 10 drummers in the world now.
Yes, I'm glad you said that, because that was what I was going to say. Yeah, he's an extraordinary drummer, because not only is he a modern metal drummer in that he has speed and he has accuracy and obviously energy, but he's got a lot of soul too in his playing. He's able to kind of pull back on the beats in a way that some other drummers these days don't even consider. He's got a wide variety of music that he likes, and he's a wonderful guy. Wonderful. I first met him when I was in Megadeth on the Gigantour, and he's a swell guy, and he just, in my jaw hit the floor when I saw them play and saw his drumming, so I was really delighted to get to know him this year and play music with him.
Do you think that this could compete with Lamb of God?
No, this should not compete with, nothing should compete with Lamb of God. Lamb of God should be its own entity, as it's always been. No, this is, Chris and I got off tour of doing this overseas thing, and he called me up and he asked me for some numbers of musicians. I said, what do you want to do? He goes, well, I'm doing some music, so I thought I'd try a few things. And I said, well, don't forget I play bass. He goes, oh, I didn't want to ask you, but of course, right?
Blending groove metal with melodic hooks that wouldn't fit a Lamb record. Cycling replaced motorcycles. Interviews now catch him sounding lighter, like someone who swapped tour bus bunks for a mattress untainted by diesel. He even praises Art Cruz. The Adler standoff mirrors a conflict many of us know. A relationship too important to ignore, yet too bruised to mend with a single text. Chris says any healing starts with a conversation. Willie hasn't taken that step. If their story nudges you to dial a number you've avoided, take the hint, because grudges age about as well as milk.